Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. Today, we are taking a look here at how Marvel will avoid multiverse confusion in MCU Phase 4. Loki and Doctor Strange 2 writer Michael Waldron promises that the MCU will maintain its humanity despite the complications brought by the multiverse. Oh, spoiler alerts for Loki right there, the Loki Disney Plus series. Even with the complications brought by the multiverse, the Marvel Cinematic Universe's core will still be its humanity. After the Infinity Saga, the MCU is treading uncharted territory in Phase 4. Currently in its transition phase, Marvel Studios is setting up the franchise's next big overarching narrative. And personally, I feel with Phase 4 of the MCU, they need to put more emphasis on the Disney Plus shows rather than the movies. Because the Disney Plus shows allowed them to go smaller, something they couldn't ever accomplish within the Infinity Saga, because the Infinity Saga, every single movie had to be a summer blockbuster. It had to be a major event. Well, now I think the path forward, that's a wrong way to put it. There's an old adage out there that goes, it's something to the effect of sometimes taking a step backwards is truly taking a step forward. So if Marvel genuinely goes backward and focuses more on the Disney Plus side, the smaller side of the MCU, and then builds up from there, I think they'll be in a much better position long term than if they try to replicate what they've done for the last 10 years, which was nothing but big blockbusters driving the franchise forward. Yes, it worked for some time, but I think we're at the end point of that right now. But getting back into the article before I tangent off for far too long, at this point, it's difficult to say what the foreseeable future of the MCU will look like, and that I do agree. I can't predict the future, but I still stand by my statement of, focus on the smaller and then build up from there. The Infinity Saga was told in 3 phases over the course of 11 years. It's uncertain if they will follow the same pattern moving forward, with only 4 projects released in Phase 4. Loki's End, however, could be the launching pad of this new overarching narrative with the Multiverse Unleashed. Looking at the movies and TV shows lined up in the next year, it's safe to say that the chaos unleashed upon the death of He Who Remains, that was played by Jonathan Majors, will factor in upcoming endeavors, particularly in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Beyond that, who knows how else these branching and overlapping timelines could affect the established continuity. Michael Waldron, who wrote both Loki and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, promises one thing, however: the MCU will not lose its humanity. In fact, it will continue to be the core of the franchise's storytelling moving forward. During his guest appearance at the Playlist podcast, the writer cited that has always been the main selling point of Marvel Comics, which Marvel Studios effectively adapted, and they have no plans on veering away from it. Here is what Michael Waldron said, quote, "Anytime the story is expanding outward in such a big way, you want to make sure that you are not alienating audiences, that you're not robbing the overall story of stakes, that it becomes so big, unwieldy, that people don't quite know what they are supposed to care about." Hey guys, I clearly can fucking read today. What I was always focused on, what I was always focused on Loki and on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was just, regardless of the crazy stuff that's happening, what's the emotional core of the story? How do you keep the humanity of it? That's what's great about the Marvel Comics, and that's where the MCU excels as well. And so, however crazily we branch out into whether it's a multiverse, whether it's into space, whatever it is, I think you just got to keep finding that core of relatability. That's what'll make people care and make it digestible to my grandfather, who might not know what the multiverse is, end quote. And yeah, clearly guys, I can fucking read today. No, I'm clearly, not frazzled the way I was stumbling through that fucking quote. And no, I'm not going to edit this part out because I'm too goddamn lazy to do so. The MCU's backbone has always been its characters, amidst the thrilling action sequences and the wonders of interconnecting storytelling. Okay, I have to largely disagree with this part. The MCU's backbone has always been its characters. Bull fucking shit. And a perfect example of that is, look at Avengers Age of Ultron. I don't remember if it was Joss Whedon. It was somebody behind Avengers Age of Ultron. Came out and flat out admitted that they thought about that scene with Hulk versus Iron Man's Hulkbuster, and they planned the entire movie around that. So if the MCU's backbone has always been its characters, why did you plan out all the big fights and then build the movie around that if it's truly been character-driven? If it's truly been character-driven, you're not going to focus too much on the big action sequences, because the big action sequences, while it's nice that they're there, should not be the primary focus. Blah, 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 let's get back to it. Amidst the thrilling action sequences and the wonders of interconnected storytelling, their heroes, and sometimes even villains, every Marvel villain has been fucking garbage, and even MCU fans will tell you that, are what continue to draw people in. As Waldron pointed out in his comments, it's quite difficult to lure new viewers in when the narrative has become too complex. He's not wrong. He's not wrong about that. When something becomes too big and too complex, that's when a lot of normies will check out and only the hardcore fans truly remain, and good luck trying to get anybody new in. Which could be the case moving forward as the multiverse opens up, but the characters' quirks, personalities, hardships, heartaches, and overall humanity are universally appealing because they are something that everyone can relate to. Waldron already proved his point in Loki. Despite the intricate setup it had to accomplish, it still felt grounded because at the end of the day, it's a Loki-centric story. Since Waldron also wrote Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, expect the same thing in the Sam Raimi-directed sequel. And see, and this is one of my, like, this is something I view as a benefit, is that the multiverse opening up is that the MCU can get away from the interconnectivity of the Infinity. They're gonna have to, if they truly want to explore the multiverse, if they truly want to explore the what if, they can't really rely on this overarching continuity, because if you attempt to do that with a multiverse, again, it's gonna get too big, too complex. And really, it's not even the audiences are going to check out. It's going to fall. The entire overarching narrative is going to fall apart before audiences check out. Then audiences are going to check out entirely. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is currently in a precarious position with its future currently uncertain. After the Infinity Saga, it needs to reinvent itself to still be relevant and sustainable moving forward. Again, I think the path forward is doing less interconnectivity and making everything smaller. Because if you go that approach, then you could truly draw more people in. You know, somebody could watch Loki and not have to watch the Infinity Saga. They absolutely could. But if I have to watch everything from Iron Man 2008 up through, what are we up to now? I know Marvel's What If is coming out, and that's going to be fucking canonized. And I've already gone over my issues with that. It's like, if I have to watch everything up through Marvel's What If, then count me out. I'm done. But while it finds other creative ways to keep its audience engaged, it must not lose sight of its main selling point, its characters. Fortunately, it appears to be planned based on Waldron's interview, and that's how the article ends. And guys, I think I've gone on as long as I need to go. A lot of my stuff that I would save for the end, I peppered throughout this video. So if you guys stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And you know, if you've been following me for long enough, I'm terrible at ending these videos. So I will just see you guys next time.